dessert junkies, I hope you have been well. Well, this recipe is for cherry pie. I must admit, I am like a fan of cherries. I love them. As soon as I see them, I want them. And pie, how can you go wrong with pastry? So this is those two things all put together in a cherry pie. Of course, before I start the video, don't forget, give me a thumbs up if you like cherry pie as well. And subscribe. I'm trying to get to 7,000 subscribers, so I need your help. Hit that button. And now, on with how you make cherry pie. Alright guys, to get started, first thing we want to do is prepare our cherries. So I'm using some frozen cherries here, but you can certainly use fresh if they are more readily available. To these cherries I'm going to add some caster sugar, and then I'm going to add some corn flour or cornstarch. This is going to help create a syrup. If these were fresh cherries, I would add some cherry liqueur and some brandy, but as they are frozen, there's enough liquor in these. Then I'm going to let them sit for 2 hours and start on my pastry. So I've got my flour, I'm going to pop that in my food processor. You can do this by hand, it will take you an extremely long time, so definitely food processor it up. Then I've got some caster sugar. I'm going to pop the lid on here, and then I'm going to slowly add some cold butter. So normally when we do baking, we want room temperature butter, but in making pastry, you want it to be cold. This is going to create a breadcrumb. So I'm going to slowly start adding in my butter, and then it will all become a breadcrumby pastry. So once you've added in all your butter, it's now time to add in 1 egg yolk. Now egg white, you can certainly reuse. Here's a great recipe for how to make it in a pavlova, for example. You've got your egg yolk in there, you're going to give it a bit of a buzz, and then we're going to add in 2 tablespoons of cold water. These should be the final ingredients to get your pastry to come all together. So it'll start to become more clumpy. Allow that to keep going, keep going, keep going. Come on baby, you can do it. Clump together, clump together. It'll come clean off the sides. That's when you know you are pretty much done with the food processor, and you have to use a little bit of manual labor. So it's all sort of clumpy and moist. Everyone loves the word moist, don't they? So then you're going to start kneading it, getting all those little bits and pieces all together, and you want to knead it for about 5 minutes. It'll stop sticking to the bench, it'll become all nice and glossy and soft. That's when you know. You're going to cut this in half. You want 1/2 for the top, 1/2 for the bottom of your pie. To chill these, because we've just worked the pastry, we want to chill it again. We want to make these into lovely circular discs, and then we want to pop them in the fridge for at least half an hour. So you want to get your disc, wrap it in plastic. That was a really bad Twin Peaks reference. And then we're going to pop them in the fridge. Once your half an hour is up, it's now time to roll your pastry. So I'm using 2 sheets of baking paper, and I'm going to roll this out so it is quite thin but not too thick. So I'm going, say, around 5 mil, nothing thicker than that. Then I'm going to get my pastry dish, which I have buttered within 1 inch of its life, making sure that there is enough there so that this doesn't stick. If you are concerned, you can flour as well. So I'm going to take my pastry, I'm going to pop it in, give it a bit of repair if need be, and I'm going to do down the sides. Now, I'm not too phased on how my pastry looks. This is the bottom, but it's a rustic kind of pie. So it's not going to be uniform, it's not going to be perfect, but if you are a perfectionist, feel free to make everything perfect on the side. But there will be some rough patches. It's organic. You've made it yourself. So don't make it look like a shop-bought pie. Show a bit of yourself in there. Then we're going to bake this bottom part. So I'm going to prick the bottom. That's going to help get all that hot air out from the pastry underneath. And then I'm going to put some cooking beads, bead weights. I've heard 6 different names for these things, but I've got beads. You can certainly use rice, you can certainly use lentils. I'm going to pop that in the oven, allow it to cook for around 10-15 minutes. Allow it to chill, then we're going to add our cherries. So we just want to add the cherries. You don't want to add any of that liquid that has come out of the cherries, because when you cook these, guess what? more liquid's going to come out and you're going to have soppy cherry pie-ness. So the minimal amount of liquid, try and get the cherries, just the cherries out, and then do the same thing you did for the base, but roll out the top. That's it. So I peeled the top off, got the bottom, flipped it over, just like a pizza, and peel it back, and that should give a perfect edge. Set up your edges. I'm just going to give this a nice brushing with some water, and then I'm going to go in with some caster sugar. And if you've got Demerara sugar, it's a bit thicker grade of sugar, you give it a light sprinkle. That's going to get that lovely sugary crust. I love that. I don't know about you, but I love it. I'm going to give 2 little vent holes just so our pie doesn't pop and bubble over, because we're going to have some heat generated inside from those cherries. You want to bake this in the oven. The descriptions are down below for you. And then out comes your cherry pie. Nice and golden. Make sure you allow it to cool just a little bit before you start carving. You can serve this with ice cream. You can serve this with cream. It is a winner. People are going to love you for making homemade pie.
And there you have it, guys. Now you don't have to add the alcohol, you can just add a little bit of water. If you are using frozen cherries, you don't add the water. There is enough water in those cherries because your pastry will go soft in the bottom. So that's a little, top tip right there. Of course, once again, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, and don't forget, hit subscribe. I'm trying to get to 7,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I'm about to go on holiday, so you're going to see me in my wild habitat. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye, guys.